What, if anything, do you think should be done to make it easier for women to leap into entrepreneurship? Start with Shannon.
I think probably from when they're really small and things like that. I think it's one of those things. Like, I have a 2-year-old now, so she's really kind of cute and bubbly and happy, and you know, she's at that point where she's just starting to learn and she's just starting to grow, and we form them and we make them who they are. So I think we need to put that back into our children and our society, and I think we need to show women that they can do anything at this point and that they have the ability to make those decisions to be anything they want to be. And we as parents and we as society and we as the community as a whole need to kind of step in and raise those children as a community and raise everybody around us to give them the ability, whether male or female or anything.
I think what we need to start exploring is how do we build businesses that allow for that are equitable. So one of the challenges that my company faced as we were growing, so we went from 2 people 2 years ago to 14 people. And in the transition years, so we went from 2 to 4 to 6 to now 14, which is 6 employees, 4 students, and 4 contractors. Half of my workforce was women, and at one point, half of those women got pregnant. So imagine when you're a small business and there's 5 of you in the office, and your project manager and your lead developer both get pregnant at the same time and then have to go on leave. Well, our policies right now really make it hard for small business owners. And when I'm trying to build women in tech and really hiring to my values, it's a tough society that allows for this kind of, I don't know what the words are, but space, I guess, that makes it easier for women who have these key positions in small business to keep working in that space, because the legislation treats us as if we were in Canada. So in Canada can shuffle people around, right? They're big enough that they don't necessarily have to refill that position or hold that position. But imagine in a startup software company, if you held a position and just brought in somebody interim, especially in a senior role like project management, that could have killed us if we didn't hire properly. So it's just those kinds of things I think need to start changing. We have to have honest and open conversations about what does it mean when we say that women should be able to do it all. I opted out of the baby train very purposefully. It was a conscious decision. And those are tough conversations, and we don't have them. We don't have them openly, and we don't have them honestly.
But the first one is that I actually think that we are in a great place right now for women entrepreneurs. And I think one of the reasons is because business has evolved and business has changed. And there's a really neat book out that's called A Whole New Mind. And it's about a 6-7-year-old book. It's written by Daniel Pink. And he talks about affluence, Asia, and automation. And the fact that those 3 circumstances are impacting our businesses in a dramatic way, the result of which is that the sorts of businesses that will be staying here in North America and the kind of employment will be more high touch, more creative, more people oriented, and much of the other work will either go to automation or be offshored or others will do it. And in my mind, when I read that book, I remember thinking to myself, a women's time has come, because all of those kinds of things that he talks about in the book are natural attributes that women tend to have. And so I think business is changing, and it's evolved in such a way that I think it naturally feels more comfortable for women to be out there and be more entrepreneurial. And I think the expectation coincides with our personalities and our characteristics. Having said that, I think one of the biggest challenges that women have is kids. Now I'm a lot older than many people here, but when I've had my son, who's now 23, I worked in a law firm, and we didn't have a lot of senior women who were partners. And I remember I took a month off work because I had my own practice, and it was going to be really costly if I lost those clients. And when I came back, all the men in the firm, I was only an associate, I wasn't a partner, but the men in the firm, kept applauding me, which offended me, because I wasn't trying to do this to set any kind of precedent for the other women in the office, but it was just self-preservation in terms of how I wanted to run my business. But I knew enough at that point too to know that there was this inherent bias against motherhood in this, in certainly in those days, 20, 30 years ago. I think that the key, though, in order to allow women to really enjoy both roles in life, is that men have to be able to enjoy both roles in life. And there's a movement around paternity now, where people can take paternity leave, and well, men can take paternity leave and actually be home with their child. But not a lot of men do it, and there's still a bit of a stigma associated with it. I know a lot of men who, coach their kids' baseball team or soccer team, or who want to be at the school for the parent-teacher interviews, and more of them are standing up and saying, I've got to take time off work to go and do this. And I think the more men who do that, the easier it is for women to do the same thing.